Hey guys, welcome back to the Western vocal channel of SIFF Young Artiste, where we nurture the artist in you. I'm Anirudh and welcome to episode number 5 of our weekly Friday live series called Feedback Fridays. So if you're joining us for the first time, then this is a series that we're doing where we're giving feedback to singers from our community, our students who are sending in clips of them singing to us. So I'm giving feedback to about 5 or 6 people every Friday at 5 p.m. And this is to help you guys improve as singers in general. If you haven't sent in your entry yet and would like to get some free feedback, please go down to the description below and you will find a link where you can upload a video or audio file. So, for all the general guidelines on how to send your video or audio and what the guidelines should be for them, wait till the end of the video and I will update you with the guidelines. So, now without further ado, let's get started then. Today, we have a few more entries. So, these have been handpicked by the SIFF Young Artist team. Even I haven't watched these videos, so I'm going to be as surprised as all of you. So, this is the first time I'm watching all of these. So let's start off. So the first entry for the week is Somen Banik. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing your name right. It's Somen Banik from Guwahati, Assam. So let's take a look at this.
तुम मिले दिल खिले और जीने को क्या चाहिए तुम मिले दिल खिले और जीने को क्या चाहिए ना हो तू उदास तेरे पास पास मैं रहूंगा जिंदगी भर ना हो तू उदास तेरे पास पास मैं रहूंगा जिंदगी भर सारे संसार का प्यार मैंने तुझी में पाया तुम मिले दिल खिले और जीने को क्या चाहिए हाँ तुम मिले दिल खिले और जीने को क्या चाहिए
Okay, so that was 1 minute of Suman singing. So, first of all, Suman, thank you so much for the entry. This is really, really nice. Firstly, I love how your voice sounds. It has a pretty bright and resonant sound. And the other positive is your pitching. Your pitching is pretty much there. Like you know what notes are to be hit where. So that's a huge bonus. And your control of your voice for most part is pretty good. And yeah, as I said, a very bright, nice, resonant voice. And the dynamics of your voice are really nice as well. Where you are singing something like na 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 na, something like that, right? So there, the first line is more bright and resonant, more solid, and the second line is a bit more airy and lighter. So it's more of a husky texture, which is really nice. So that means you understand the different textures and the dynamics in your voice. Okay, so now coming to the feedback part. Firstly, the thing that I observed was you're holding a guitar, but you're not using it. Maybe you played a chord before recording for the key or something. That's perfectly fine. But if you can play an instrument, maybe even just single strums for each line, that would be great. You will have a better reference of pitch. You have a great reference of pitch, but this is a general guideline that I'm giving to most singers. If you have an instrument and you can play it even decently, where you can just play a few chords, just hold them and play them along with your singing, because one, that'll make sure your pitch is on point, and second, you will always improve as an instrumentalist, right? If you're just a singer, that's great, but if you can play an instrument along with it, that's even better. So that's one thing. And the second thing is mainly what I saw was because you weren't using a metronome or an instrument, you weren't necessarily properly on beat. I'm not saying the lines were off beat, but probably you started off a bit slow and then you started singing a bit faster during the higher pitch sections, and then again you went a bit slow. That's not too much of an issue, but you can practice with a metronome or a click track, right? So the 1, 2, 3, 4. Mile, na na na. So that would definitely help you stay on beat. And if you're jamming with other musicians, that would be very useful. Now, coming to the main points of feedback that I wanted to give you. One, even though your dynamics is really good, one thing that I saw was you were singing with a closed mouth approach, as we call it. You were sort of, you weren't, I felt like, letting out uh, the full potential of how, not loud per se, but how dynamic or how bright your voice could be, especially when you were going higher. And say, for example, it was more like, maybe try to open your mouth a bit wider and see how that improves the dynamics. And maybe also when you're going higher in pitch, I saw that you were straining a bit and you were looking up, and I could clearly feel the strain in your throat. So for this, again, a much more open mouthed approach would help. And secondly, if you're having pitching issues, make sure to try and push air upwards. So as we say, right? So if I'm trying to sing high, I'll be straining. If I'm just trying to push my larynx down and trying to push my throat and my chest by like looking up and trying to force it out. But if I'm singing where I'm pushing air upwards and I'm sort of using my nasal resonance. So it sounded a bit nasal, right? So that's perfectly healthy, that's perfectly fine. Maybe try a bit of that nasal resonance by pushing air upwards instead of pushing your throat down, right? So that might definitely help you with your pitching. And lastly, the breath control part. So I think a couple of times I saw you na, 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 like you could clearly see that the breath wasn't probably meant to be taken there. So an easy guideline to follow is that see where the punctuation is. Na 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 na. Sorry, I'm not familiar with these songs. I'm just sort of following along to what you have sung because I predominantly sing in English, but hope you got the idea. So know where the lyrics are meant to be stopped, where a comma is or where a full stop is, and or where a question mark is, and you will know that is where you need to take your breath. And secondly, I would say, like, see, if the lines are shorter and you have a lot of space after each line, wait till the end of the line to take your breath. If not, you can like take shorter breaths during a more rhythmic, faster line, right? So you can take shorter breaths in between while singing. So that's basically all the feedback I have to give you regarding this clip that you've sent. So for more breathing and pitching related guidelines and tips and tricks and exercises, even warm-ups, there is another breathing warm-up which I've told you to breathe through the diaphragm and letting it out through your mouth. All of that is available on the Western Vocals Beginners course that is live every Monday at 4 p.m. And we have already done 9 episodes of that. You can go to about episode number 6, 7, 8, I guess, for the breathing part. And pitching we have mentioned in the earlier sessions. So please refer to that, and I hope this helps you. Thank you so much for the entry. You really have a lot of potential. Your voice has that emotion and that really rich texture that you need to succeed in, especially this sort of a genre. So all the best. Looking forward to more entries from you in the future. Okay, guys, so now let's move on to number 2, entry number 2, that is Chirag Gaur from Udaipur, Rajasthan. Right, so let me open Chirag's video. So this video is about 2.5 minutes long. So usually we play about 1 minute or 1 minute 20 seconds. So even if you have a longer clip, try to sort of chop it to about 1 minute where the main sections of the song are present and you can share it with us. Let me play the first 1 minute maybe.
तुझको मैं रख लूं वहाँ जहाँ पे कहीं है मेरा यकीन मैं जो तेरा ना हुआ किसी का नहीं किसी का नहीं ले जाए जाने कहाँ हवाएं हवाएं ले जाए मुझे कहाँ, हवाएं हवाएं बेगानी है ये बागी, हवाएं हवाएं ले जाए मुझे कहाँ, हवाएं हवाएं ले जाए जाने कहाँ, ना मुझको खबर ना तुझको पता।
Okay, so that was Chirag Gaur from Udaipur. Thank you so much, Chirag, for sending this across. Now, firstly, again, I really love how your voice sounds. It has that emotion and it just feels very innocent and very, very convincing for some reason. Where when you sing, it feels like people will believe the words that you're singing. So, that is a great quality as a singer to have, and that's what I found in your voice. So, really nice job with this song. And I think choosing such songs is, I think you have an inclination towards such songs, and that's good because I think you realize these sort of songs suit your voice or your style, right? So that's really good. And secondly, firstly, your voice is great, and secondly, I think the pitching is pretty much spot on. Your control is good. Only in the ending of the clip I played only about a minute, but by the end there were a few flat notes, but apart from that your pitching was pretty much good throughout. And your breathing was fine. And I think even though you did not use a metronome or a click, your rhythm was pretty much stagnant and fine throughout. But I would definitely say maybe use an instrument or a shruti box or something like that for your pitch, and maybe use a metronome app for your beat, right, for the rhythm. That's one thing. Breath control is fine, and how you control your voice in the different parts that you sang here is great as well. So a couple of pointers for you. Firstly, I think when it comes to pitching, that is singing in tune, as I told you, by the end you fell a bit flat, right? So for that I would say improve your pitching. I've mentioned this a lot of times. Maybe take an instrument or a perfect piano app, a free app of a piano app on your phone. Play specific notes, try to match it, sing it and try to match it. We have covered pitching and singing in tune a lot in detail in our Western vocals beginners course, so you can go and refer to that as well. We're live every Monday at 4. And yeah, so apart from that, the pitching is one thing. Using an instrument and or listening to the song so many times and trying to sing along with the singer, even if you are singing in a lower scale, listen to a line, stop it, try to sing it in your scale, make sure you're hitting the correct notes, right? Or sing with reference of an instrument or an app. So that's one thing. And the second thing I saw is, I mean, you were very in the zone and you were like sort of making all these actions and singing. That's great, that's wonderful. But I would say if it is taking a toll on where you're pitching or when you're going high, if you're straining, I would say try not to move your body too much. Just focus on the singing so that you know for a fact that you're hitting the correct notes and you're on beat and your focus is completely on that. When you're on stage, maybe you can work on all of this, but when you're practicing, try not to move too much. Try to focus on the melody at hand. Okay. And lastly, for some reason, I don't know, I may be wrong, but the way you're sitting, I think it's fine. Your back is straight and everything, but for some reason I see a bit of tension in your body. Maybe it's in your legs, maybe it's in your back as well. I don't know if it's straight or if it's also stiff. A couple of places where you were singing like this, I could feel that maybe there's a bit of stiffness. So for that, we have a lot of warm-ups already. Do the shoulder drops and your neck exercises and some foot movement like you would do before a sports warm up, all of that. And also maybe warm up with a bit of breathing exercises so your whole body is relaxed. And the lip trills, right? So if you don't know, you can go back to our Western vocals beginners course, or also it's on our reels. So maybe from your lower range to your higher range and back. Do the lip trills with a burr sound, brrr, not a purr, but a burr. Right, so you can work on all of these, and I think definitely you would improve. And I mean, there is a lot of potential. I really loved your voice. It has that feel to it, and as I told you already, you are a very convincing singer. Anything you sing would probably convince the listener to listen to you. So that is a very rare skill, and I think you should develop on that. And great job. Thank you so much for sending it across. So now that we've seen Somen and Chirag's videos, we have Manognya now. So let me open it up. Oh, okay. I thought it was a video, but it's just a 45-second audio. So, guys, I mean, in the guidelines, I'll refer to this again, but try to send videos as much as possible. I know you may be conscious, but do try, because that would help me give much better feedback. Because if you saw in the previous video, right, so for Chirag, I told him he might have a bit of stiffness, and sometimes when you're straining your throat and all of that, I can see it. If I can see it clearly, I can tell you clearly, but if it's just an audio, I might not be able to pinpoint those things out for you. But no worries, even if an audio, we can at least analyze that. But if at all you feel comfortable and you're okay with it, please do send across a video. And this is 45 seconds long. Ideally, a minute and 20 seconds should be good. Right? So let's play Manognya from Hyderabad, Telangana. Let's play the audio that she sent across.
दर्द दिल के बिना महफिल ही क्या, दर्द दिल के बिना महफिल ही क्या, जो न टूटा कभी वो दिल ही क्या, जो न टूटा कभी वो दिल ही क्या, है मेरा हाल बुरा और बुरा कर दिया, मेरी जख्मों को जरा और हरा कर दिया, बेदर्दया यार बेदर्दया, ओ बेदर्दया यार बेदर्दया, ओ बेदर्दया यार बेदर्दया, ओ बेदर्दया.
Hey Manognya, that was pretty nice. So, firstly, you have a very unique tone. I think this audio can be categorized into three parts, because initially, I think you started off a bit pitchy and flat, and your tone wasn't settled in yet. By the second or third line, it was more settled in. And then by the time of the middle part, the pre chorus, I would call it, it was sounding much better, and the chorus was, well, pretty good. So I think it's three separate parts from what I heard. So, firstly, I think your voice has a very unique tone to it. It has that inherent swagger, or that I don't know how to call it. It's that very sort of a unique tone, maybe something in between a Neha Kakkar and someone like a country singer, like a country western singer. So it has that inherent swagger, and it has that bit of a vibe to it, which I would say maybe try to sing. This is a very emotional ballad sort of a song, right? Maybe your voice or your texture might be more suited for, say, party songs, or a Neha Kakkar type song, or maybe in the western vein of things, maybe like a country song, or even for that matter, a lot of these styles of songs, like, say, U Antava Mava, right? So that is a very famous South Indian Telugu track. And because you're from Hyderabad, I would say I would love to listen to such songs with your voice texture. That's the first thing that came to mind. Okay, and now coming to the points of focus. So, firstly, I think the texture and tone apart, you were a bit pitchy in the beginning, and then it improved. So, you were falling flat. So, please try to improve on getting the pitch, that is the notes, right. So, when you're doing that, maybe, as I've always told this, I've repeated this 100 times, but I don't mind repeating it 100 more times, as long as the point is clear to every singer out there, that use an instrument, use an app, try to tune yourself. See, sometimes it's not that everyone can sing in pitch all the time. Sometimes even I go off pitch. Sometimes even professional singers go off pitch. That's not at all the point that I'm trying to make here. It means you should try to reduce the number of times you might go off to, like, maybe 1 in 100, right? There should only be like a 1% error margin. So for that, practicing with an instrument, practicing with the original song, and maybe singing it in your key, and practicing with a backing track, or like a perfect piano app, all of that will help and tune your voice. If you're singing high, sing lower and tune it. If you're singing low, so yeah, like, you can tune yourselves like just how you would tune a guitar, right? By turning the tuning keys, you can tune your voice. So make sure to do those exercises. Refer to the Western Vocals Beginners course for more on that. And secondly, the beat kept changing throughout. All three parts that you sang were very different rhythmically. One was slow, one was medium paced, one was much faster. I think the first part was fast, the second was medium, and the third was slow, if I remember correctly. So I think practice with a metronome, that is something that can definitely help you. So use a metronome, practice to the beat. Oh, baby, ah, na 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 na. So that, and as I told you, try to sing different types of songs which may be more suited for your voice. And I think a couple of places I thought you might be straining. I'm not sure because this, firstly, you didn't sing too high here, but and I also don't have the video. So if you are straining, make sure to warm up well. Again, all of them are in the Western Vocals Beginners course. And also do some pitching exercises where see until where your range goes. Even if your voice becomes light, like ooh, that's fine, but try to push your range. See what notes you're comfortable with and try to experiment a bit with that so that you can find your sweet spot, right? So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. The usual warm-ups, breathing, and you should be fine. So thanks again for sending it across. Let's move on to number 5. Okay, so this one is by Sundaram Kumar from Muzaffarpur, Bihar. Okay, so let's take a listen to Sundaram singing.
बरसात भी आकर चली गई, बादल भी गरज कर बरस गए, पर उसकी एक झलक को हम ए हुस्न के मालिक तरस गए। कब प्यास बुझे इन आँखों की, दिन रात ये दुखरा रहता है। ओ मेरे सामने वाली खिड़की में एक चांद का टुकड़ा रहता है। अफसोस ये है कि वो हमसे उखरा उखरा रहता है। मेरे सामने वाली खिड़की में एक चांद का टुकड़ा रहता है। अफसोस ये है कि वो हमसे उखरा उखरा रहता है।
Okay, this was 1 minute of Sundaram singing. So, first of all, Sundaram, again, I think today we've had a lot of very nice tone and textures in all the singers till now. Again, it's a very sweet voice. Like your voice would probably suit for a lot of Hindi indie songs and even such retro songs. This is, of course, a classic song which even I know. And I really enjoyed this performance. It was again very convincing and very, very sweet. So I couldn't help but smile looking at you sing. The way you were singing, you have a sort of innocence to the way you sing and the voice, right? So you're feeling the song, so that is completely wonderful. That's a very important skill for a singer to have. And as I said, you have a very nice voice and pretty much you're on beat. But coming to the feedback, I would say, I think whether it was nervousness or lack of practice, there were places where you were falling flat in the pitch, and a couple of places you were shaking like that. I think I observed that a couple places where you weren't sure, and then it became a vibrato by itself, where you were trying to find the correct pitch. So again, practice with an instrument, practice with a perfect piano app, and practice with other singers, and like just keep improving your pitch, like know the song like the back of your hand, right? So like it should reach such a level where you've practiced it so many times, even without a key reference you must sort of be close, right, to the pitching. So that is one thing I can give you suggestion. Practice with a metronome to stay even better on beat. And I guess like you've chosen a very retro sweet song which is very linear, I would like for you to start experimenting a bit more. Maybe take a song which starts around this range in the verse and the pre-chorus, maybe a little lower than this, and then it goes higher in pitch, right? Maybe that range in the verse, and then in the chorus, maybe it just goes higher and higher. So try to push the limits of your vocal range, figure out what your limits are and try to play around with it. That would be great. And I'm very curious to see how your voice would sound in slightly lower and slightly higher, especially. So that is another thing. And the last suggestion I would give you is, I think I saw a couple of places where you're taking very short breaths at places where you didn't need to. So economize where you will take your breath, right? So maybe plan, okay, na 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 na, just like a, but it should just flow with the line. It shouldn't feel like na 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 na. It shouldn't be that where you're stopping. It should be na 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 na. So it should be like that. And where you have more gap or more space, you can take a much deeper breath and go ahead with it, right? So that is my feedback to you, Sundaram. Thank you so much for sending it across. I really enjoyed watching it and listening to you. So now let's go to the final entry for this week, I guess. Again, we're almost running out of time. So this is Tanmay Shukla, and it is a clear audio file. It's a wave. And the name, he's just given it as Sochna Sake. I think that's the name of the song. So I think today is the first time where we are having all five Hindi songs, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So all five Hindi songs. So let me play this entry by Tanmay.
तेनू इतना मैं प्यार करां एक पल विच 100 वार करां तू जावे जे मैनू छड्ड के मौत दा इंतजाम करां जो तेरे लिए दुनिया छोड़ दी है ये तुझ में ही सांस आके रुके मैं तुझको कितना चाहता हूँ कि तू कभी सोच ना सकी जो तेरे लिए दुनिया छोड़ दी है ये तुझ में ही सांस आके रुके मैं तुझको कितना चाहता हूँ कि तू कभी सोच ना सकी.
Okay, so that was Tanmay with Sochna Sake. So, firstly, I don't know why there were these glitches, like breaks in between in the audio. I don't know if you've recorded it on an app, and I don't know why it sounds like a gate that we say in audio engineering terms. But okay, apart from that, again, so I don't have a video. The thing is, Tanmay, your voice is pretty nice. It's very soothing and it's very calming. And you have that again, that very indie sort of a husky, sort of a light voice, or that's how you've sung it here. And secondly, your pitching is pretty much good. It's almost there. Maybe in a couple of places you could have just improved on that, but otherwise, your pitching, you're hitting the correct notes, you're singing in tune, so that's good. But now coming to the points again, so one, not on beat, I guess, like you were going faster and slower. So try to sing to a metronome or a beat, which I've repeated with all the others before as well. And use an instrument, use an app, maybe improve your pitching a little more. But the main point I want to give you is two things. One is the breathing. Even though I just had the audio, I could feel that you were sort of panting for breath, right? So you need to do a bit more breathing exercises, know where to take a breath, where to take a longer breath, where to take a shorter breath, and all of that. So that is one thing. And the second more important point, which is also related to your breathing, is maybe you're singing in such a husky tone that this is a very common thing I've seen with singers. And when you're going low, some notes don't, like they sound too low, maybe too low for your voice. Listening to your voice now, I'm sure you can start it higher. So don't hesitate to go higher. And when you go higher, don't think your tone will always be like this husky and airy, right? You can't go beyond a point in that tone. You have to switch to a more brighter, more nasal resonant tone, like something like that. But you can't push like that, right? So make sure you try to experiment with more textures in your voice rather than being comfortable with this that is, I know, like many people I know also try to do this, where when they're scared of the higher pitch, lower pitches, they just want to stick to that one, and they think it adds emotion. It does add emotion, to in that particular range. But as you go higher and lower you just run out of breath, and higher it just doesn't sound good. You can't reach those notes, right? So try to sing in different textures. Don't be afraid to push your voice. Try to sing brighter, try to sing higher, and see how that works out for you. So I guess that's pretty much the feedback. Thank you so much for sending that across, Tanmay. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I don't know where you're from, Tanmay. I guess it wasn't entered, or I'm sorry, it's not in the audio. I'm very sorry about that. But yeah, it's Tanmay Shukla, and the audio is titled Soch Na Sake. So hope the feedback helped all of you guys. So that's it for today's episode. We could do 5 more feedbacks today, and I'm very happy with that. And as we progress, I guess the quality of singing, quality of the clips you guys are sending is improving, and I'm very happy to see that. And you guys can feel free to send across more songs as well, especially if you sing in English and specialize in Western vocals, pop songs, rock songs, whatever. Please do send those across as well. Now, if you haven't sent across a video to us already, just a few guidelines for you guys. Firstly, find the link in the description below. You can enter in the sheets the link, all your other details that they've asked for, and we will be picking 5 or 6 of you each week to give feedback. That's point number 1. And coming to the guidelines, let it be 1 minute long, let it be a video preferably, or if not, an audio is fine, because as you saw, if you have a video, I can give you some feedback on the physical aspects of your singing as well, and not just the audio part. So 1 minute long, any language is fine. Try not to use earphones. Oh, that's one more point I missed out. I think the 4th person today, if I'm not wrong, was using earphones. If you are listening to the song on earphones, don't do that, because if you're trying to match the original singer's pitch, you might not be able to, and you might miss the beat and the pitch as well. So use an instrument or just sing a cappella. Just take the correct key for your voice and just sing it plain, just your voice without anything else. And yeah, don't listen to earphones. Try to just do it, and also record in a noise free environment. I think all of them today have done it in their rooms, I guess. So that's fine, but try not to. We have got a few entries where it's a live performance where the audio is barely clear, or it's like there's a lot of background noise behind the video, right? So try not to do that. So that's pretty much it. 1 minute long, any language, preferably a video, and without much background noise. And try not to rip it off of TikTok or Smule or Star Maker or any of these apps, and preferably not with any effects such as reverb, delay, auto tune, and so on. I think one entry today, there was a natural reverb in the room. That's fine if the room itself has that reverb feeling. So many people call it echo. It's not echo, it's basically reverberation from the room. If there are not too many things, the sound does not get absorbed, and you hear those tails at the end when you sing, right? So that's perfectly fine, but try not to add any artificial effects on your computer. So guys, that's pretty much it. I'm looking forward to a lot more entries. I'll see you guys for the beginners Western vocal scores at 4 p.m. on Monday for session number 10. And next Friday, I'll see you guys at 5 p.m. again for a few more feedbacks. Hope this is helping all of you. I am loving this. So I'll see you next week. Till then, take care, keep practicing, keep singing. Bye.